Hello, fellow, fellow-ettes, fellow in-betweens. I need my coffee. Spring has sprung. We got some natural light. I got some natural sleep. Woohoo! But enough about me. There's so many spring-related topics to dip into, at least if you look around. I mean, some of them aren't relevant, but much of life is not relevant. You kind of pick and choose and twist it to how you can effectively utilize it. So I'm going to bring up something that many of you would find irrelevant. We're going to get a little bit into Lent. Just a little bit. During Lent, you identify something that you can go without for 40 days. Now, in the Lenten tradition, this is so you can suffer just a hint along with the suffering Jesus endured. You're not supposed to pick something superficial that's really easy to go without. I have one coffee a week. Not me. I'm speaking of a theoretical person that I don't know. And so you give up coffee. You don't eat candy, and so you're like, I'm going to give up candy. It's supposed to be a little bit challenging. You're also supposed to not be boastful and humble yourself and think that you're doing something extraordinary by giving up a luxury non-necessity item, because it's supposed to be a spiritual walk and to teach you something about what we really need, what suffering really is, how much abundance we really have, and to make you look inward and detach from unnecessary abundances of earthly junk. So you can give up a habit that's bad for you. You can give up spending for 40 days. You can try and give up an addiction like smoking or excessive amounts of caffeine. You can give up all types of sugar. You can make a commitment for 40 days, a commitment to do inner work, spiritual growth, anything of that nature that's going to advance you internally and attach you to source energy. In the Lenten tradition, again, source energy is Christ and God. But there are tenets here, like the going without, to realize how little we need. Fasting is done in a lot of different religious situations. Fasting can also be an option in this situation. And people don't quite appreciate what fasting is about. Fasting is sort of the more extreme end of realizing that we don't need any more than this moment and the guidance that's within us and that exists in all living things, that came from somewhere, that we are all connected, to connect, to detach entirely even from the human appetites. We're temporarily in a physical vessel. I've said we all pass on. And that doesn't need to be a frightening aspect. The more and more spiritual you get, whatever your faith is, the more strong you feel this self-interconnectedness with all of it, the more you realize that you're in a temporary vessel and that's not you. And though you need to take care of your body, when you have the absence of even something as simple as the physical scratching of your body to give me food, lady, man, however you identify, feed me, and you just deny the body, you deny the physical, and focus 100% spiritually. And you're supposed to also give back, be conscientious, give. Now, this is a way that people who are Christian, walking Christianity, should be behaving all year round. But they have a similar thing called Ramadan in the Muslim faith, and it's even more pronounced in its practices than the Christian faith. But a period of fasting, prayer, and recompense, conscientious giving to the world is kind of what Lent is about, and what a lot of these spiritual holidays are about that people find so baffling. And prayer. Now, how this is useful to anyone, anywhere, of any faith, or agnostic, or atheist, or wherever you float your boat, you're in there. Maybe not in your tummy. Some of us live primarily in our tummy. I know my life revolved around food for a while. I still quite like to eat. I haven't managed to fast yet. I'm just a silly human. I got a lot of work to do. I got a lot of time. And you don't have to fast. You don't have to do anything extreme. But this is a quote that I made up. I haven't Googled it, so I don't know if it already exists. So if I'm copywriting, sorry, universe, I don't think there's a new thought under the sun. But go without to go within. I've spoken about letting go of problems, letting go of your past, letting go of your possessions, letting go of your attachments, letting go of your spending. Just let go. And fasting and releasing, consciously choosing to release the bondage of whatever we are tied to in this plane of existence that controls us. Nothing should control us. Nothing should prevent us from seeing what's real, from going in here, in here, in here. Imagine yourself to be a computer. And your brain is like the motherboard. Your spirit, your you, that thing you were born with that no one else on the planet has and no one else will ever have, no matter how similar they may seem, shaped by experience and other things, is like the internet. Where is the internet? It's the energy. And the internet is everywhere and nowhere. And it's in here. If you want to be happy, you have to look inward. And having a time to release, to let go, focused. A full 40 days is more than 1 month. Dedicated. You can do these things. Dedicated things for a month period. Any month you pick on the calendar without being religious, to be spiritual or to be connected or to reduce your anxieties and other baggage that we all carry and have acquired, to just let it go and spring clean yourself. So you do this, you don't have to do it religiously, but for a full 40 days, identify some things in your life that you know have been dragging you down, that you know you are over invested with, that have kind of taken you over and kind of rule you and distract you and take you away and cause you damage, that you are really ready to commit to getting rid of, to moving out of your way towards you, towards the reality of who you are, who you were meant to be, what you were meant to do while you're alive, your heart and your mind and your energy interwebs desires the true you. Move that shit. Release it, let it go. And you can take this as far as you want to. You can pick up minimalism, and you can suddenly decide to try and quit your drinking or gambling or stop buying, or you can take it simple and just pick one thing and say, today I'm going to take a walk. I'm going to take action instead of complaint. I'm going to let go of my bad attitude, but let go. Truly commit to doing it consistently for a while. And the more you let go of, the more you detach from stuff and things and flighty emotions and all this extra nonsense that is superficial and unrealistic and unnecessary. It's tangible, it's material, it exists, but it's not where it's at. It's not where you want to be at. And you kind of know that. So we go without so that we have time and space and energy to go within. The more distractions and attachments and false beliefs and bad behaviors that you release, and the more giving that you are, and the more time you spend looking inward, not I'm hungry, this sucks, I'm going without, I don't want to give that away. Well, then that's not what you should be trying to do. Do something that fits for you. But release a thing and spend dedicated time. This is where the prayer part comes in. Doing something that does not involve, I'm going to go back to the fasting or releasing part. When you're doing this, be aware that the tiny superficial thing that you are choosing to give up, there are people who don't know where their next meal is coming from, that sleep in the cold, that live in war-torn, desolate areas without a roof over their head. The things that people have had to sacrifice and go through and endure in life daily, go through daily, is what we are doing is a mere pittance to what others endure as their existence. And you're also supposed to bear in mind that, so that you may be, at the end of the day, not only freer from yourself and more connected to what you truly want, but more willing to share what you have with others who do not have it and have empathy. That's the whole point of the fasting and the looking inward. You don't know what you don't know, and if you never take the time to look at yourself, not superficially, but spend some time with yourself by letting some things go and moving some obstacles out of your way, you're never going to see what you're about. And let's see, what was back to, the prayer. You don't have to pray. I suggest it, but I'm biased. Y'all know it. But that's my route. There are a lot of people with a lot of beliefs. It's important, the amount of AA and NA programs is that there is a power higher than myself. And some people take upset at that because they're not religious. And you don't have to identify that higher power as God. Think of it as the internet. And you are a series of ones and zeros of energy. If we break down all physical matter that exists, we're all just little wobbly protons and neutrons. It's all this immaterial material. We're all made of the same stuff. ones and zeros. We're all the interweb, we're all energy. And realize that all life force is connected by something. Whatever you want to call it. The bigger picture, if you don't have a religious view, if you don't want to go far out here in my spiritual land, you can consider the large picture. The planet, other people, the galaxies, space, time, the humongousness of all of it. Contemplate it a little. Realize you are a part of a huge, larger system, an integral part, like a little piece of DNA in a much larger body, and if that piece of DNA was missing, there'd be a fuck up in the sequence. We may be as insignificant as one little letter in a chain of DNA. But when we realize we're part of that chain, if you take a bit of DNA out of someone's genome, they got a lot of problems. You are integral, you are important, and to contemplate that. Contemplate their larger forces in life, environmental, circumstantial, they are circumstantial sometimes, natural law, physics. Take all of these things into consideration. If you are not into contemplation, try quiet meditation. Try laying in the grass in a field for 5-10 minutes a day and just lay on your back and touch the grass and stare at the clouds. And be one with yourself for a minute, with nothing else. No music, no garbage, no distraction, and feel the grass on your fingertips, on your bare feet, the back of your head, and be grounded to the planet which keeps you here. And just be with yourself for a while every day and contemplate the larger influence. You can do spiritual practices that are going to bring you into the now, that are things like yoga is a good one. It makes you mind, body, spirit right here, right now. You can do things like, what was I going to say? There was another one. I forgot. It was much more agnostically apt. Journal. Spend some time journaling. Write your thoughts and feelings. Be aware of your own thoughts and feelings. Recognize how you operate. Spend some time being introspective for a little bit each day. And that time, there's a really nifty one that I thought of and then it just went out my brain. Sorry. So let go. Go without so you can go within and really reflect on yourself, the larger spectrum of life, what you have, what you don't need, how you feel, who you are, what you think. Inside is a moving, breathing force of energy, force of nature, awesome entity that you are, and how your impact impacts everything else, and how integral and important and essential you are, and how you need to be conscious. Mindfulness practices that I've brought up before are another good option, that are non-religiously related practices that are just going to center you in the right here, right now. Who you are, present moment, and release some of that anxiety and distraction and befuddled mess that we create for ourselves, that bogged down virus internet that runs real slow, and so you can't think through and you can't see through the mess to what's really there forming right in front of you. The website is all pixelated because we're all fuckered up in the head. Mindfulness practices, square breathing, measured breathing, counting, and there's a whole lot more. I should get back into some more mindfulness practices. Naming objects, moving slowly, doing one thing at a time, brain dumping, description with no just texture, color, shape, those type of things without naming the object. Other things that are going to put you here. And then giving. So by the end of a month of going without, moving a mountain, faith of a mustard seed can move a mountain. Another little religious quote that can be used by all people. If you're not blocking yourself off because you're tuned out because it has to do with religion. It has to do with spirituality. It has to do with your spirit, your energy, your unique you-ness. There's a kernel of gold in everything. And for me, this is my path. The more traditional path. But the key things were when I became present, I realized that I've been looking everywhere but inside. The more I let go, the clearer and crisper the picture was that I am not my computer. I'm not the desk or crap that my computer sits on. I am not my vessel. I am the internet. The internet is everywhere. Everyone is the internet. Everything is the internet. We're all connected. There went my isolation. There went everything. I became more and more willing to let go of the desk and all this other stuff because eventually I'm just going to pass away and pass on. And I want to have left this place more awesome than when it came. And I don't need all this stuff. What does the internet need? It's nice, but I don't need it. It's thrust me in an awesome direction. So you do what works for you. But look in here and realize there's more to you than your skin, your heart, your mind. It's a little deeper than that. And you have moved a mountain by the end of these 40 days that has stood in front of you. You'll feel progress in your life. You'll feel proud of yourself. You'll feel more disciplined. And practicing centered and disciplined activities like journaling, cataloging your emotions, contemplating life, doing yoga, doing mindfulness, spending a few seconds out in nature, taking a walk, you will be calmer, more relaxed, more centered, more present by the end of it. And as you become more aware of yourself and things start to surface and you're boosted, you're calmed, you feel connected to yourself and disconnected from these things and powerful because you're releasing these things. You will also may stir up some awarenesses that you weren't expecting about yourself that may not be so pretty. It's a helpful offset to realize that we don't know what we know until we know. You do your best in life, and then when you know better, you do better. It's okay. You're okay just how you are right now. Just how you are. You don't have to fix everything all at once. And there's nothing really to be fixed. There's nothing to be done here. This whole practice, this whole idea is to let you reconnect with what's inside of you. That's the point, is to get closer to you, not to be a project, something you have to do to be a good person. You are a good person. Problems and all. Who's to say what your road is and that your problems are an integral part of what you're supposed to be using for later when they're going to need to come up. You're going to need that tool in your toolbox to help someone else, to help yourself. You're going to need that little hurdle for later when you have a big hurdle. That's not moving you somewhere. That's not who you're supposed to be. You're always who you're supposed to be. But sometimes we get lost. And So if that starts to unsettle you, realize first you're okay. You're more than okay. You're the interweb. You're everything all at once. And you're one little piece of DNA at the same time. There is no other you. Isn't that cool? Um, and non-religious. Look it up. We're all just little non-physical particles, and you can take it where you want to take it. Utilize what you want to utilize, but when that stuff starts to bubble up, realize you're never where you're not meant to be unless you put yourself there. You can practice detaching from those things, become more centered, accept yourself as you are. Okay, so you don't know what you don't know until you know. We do the best we can until we know better than we do better. It's fine. Life is not a test. Life is not a race. Life is not a destination. This is supposed to connect you to now and increase your empathy, and committing acts of kindness, generosity, giving also helps you to continue to detach and to foster this kernel of the growing Grinch heart inside of you that you know you want to do good here and you don't know where to start. And anything that has bubbled up that you don't approve of, you can't change yourself overnight. You've become, that doesn't align with what you feel now in here, and you think now in here who you are. That doesn't align. You took your whole life to get here. You're not going to change it overnight with a little bit of yoga and some mindfulness. Like, be easy on yourself and give as you feel directed to give by your heart, not as recompense for those guilty feelings, or you will just foster more guilty feelings. But be very conscious of other people during this period too. Be very empathetic, very conscious, and very considerate of other people. And naturally, it too will become more of a habit for you to just be naturally conscientious. It's like 40 days long, and considerate and compassionate of other people, and it'll help grow that seed in you. And naturally it will offset some of that guilt or feelings that may come up in this that aren't so happy for you when you look at yourself and where you're at versus where you feel you would like to be, true to your core, you know. And it's important, like I said, that you don't do it out of recompense, because it'll only foster more guilt. You'll feel like you're only being good, you're only a good person, because you have to be, because you have something lacking in you that you have to make up for. And you're only good when you're forced to do little exercises like this. Don't damage yourself. You are not bad. You are perfect. We're always in growth. We're always somewhere going somewhere else. We can't grow if we're perfect. We're done. Like, because we pass away at that point. You want to make sure that the giving is natural. Conscientiousness should be continued throughout of other people, because that's a skill that you want to be more attuned to, is to, if you're going to look outward at all, is to be aware of others. Be less selfish and more selfless. Be aware of the planet. Be aware of the feelings of animals, your pets, things going on around you in that way, instead of so self-focused. But the giving part, give from the heart, not from any other sense, if you want it to go well. So that is my little dip into Lent for y'all, or any other type of this tradition. I would suggest, I know this is long and probably people aren't watching it. People that might be interested might be watching it. It is a spiritual practice. It is a self-growth. To be non-spiritual, it is a self-growth process, self-connection process. It is a period dedicated, a whole month dedicated to making some progress in your life, releasing your demons, releasing your obstacles, releasing your obsessions, releasing your connection to outside things that are removing you from the things you want to be, do, have, love, live in your life. Filled with practices, whether they be prayer or yoga or mindfulness or taking a walk in nature, journaling, cataloging your thoughts and emotions, lying down in the grass and looking at the sky, that puts you right here, right now. Remove your anxiety, fear, doubt, overthinking, crazy brains, and just realize that all you gotta do is live for a minute, and you are connected to you again. You'll have moved a mountain. You'll be aware of some awesome things that you have. You'll be aware of other people. You'll be more giving, more grateful, proud of yourself, calmer, more connected to who you really are, and more aware of how things really are by the end of it. It's not a thing that has to be a religious thing. It's a growing thing. It's a coming to know who you are thing. It's a coming to see how you matter in relation to all thing. It's coming to see how all others matter and are equally essential. They're other bits of the DNA code. They're another one or another zero. If you miss one, the whole thing is messed up. Everyone is equally important, just as you are. And so I suggest, whatever your feelings are on Lent, whether you participate or you do not, to try a chunk of time, a good month, and pick a thing to release, move out of your way, a habit, a distraction, an obsession, or a thing to pick up, and I'm going to take action on a thing. I'm going to do this for a month that is going to progress your life forward, closer to who you really are. I suggest that you, during this month, pick a thing that is going to center you unto yourself. Go without to go within. Look in here, spend some time in here, and contemplate your larger connectedness to the larger universe. Galaxies upon galaxies upon galaxies. It's quite crazy how big and how small everything is, and how essential you are to those closest to you. 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon here. If you're not American, you might want to Google that. And to give, be cognizant of everyone around you, so we are not a selfish, self-absorbed era, people, disconnected in the I, in the ego, in the me generation, in the modern generation, that we realize everybody's an I. Everybody's integral. Everybody matters. We're less selfish, more aware of others, and give as you see fit, as it feels right to do. you feel clean at the end of it. A good spring cleaning for yourself. So, you don't have to do it at Lent. You don't have to do it at spring. You don't have to do it at all. But it'll rocket you forward in peace, calmness, serenity, and nurturing and being who you intend to be in life. That's my description of how you too can try some of these things. Best when dedicated, compartmentalized, crunched, really focused together in a period of time. Giving consciousness of others, inward looking, inward searching, spiritual practices, mindfulness, centeredness, presentness practices, and moving something, letting it go bye-bye, going without for a succinct and very focused time. Try it anytime. It's more important to spring clean yourself than spring clean your house. Who cares what your house looks like? And who cares what you look like on the outside? It's how you feel on the inside. Clean that crap. Deep, deep, deep clean. All the corners that you know are messed up in there. Give them a good dusting by trying something like this. Love you guys. Bye, YouTube. I should go do stuff.